Welcome, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
It's such a privilege to be here together in this beautiful space on a very special Shabbat. If you're a guest to Temple Bethel, welcome. And just some logistical things, if you need to use a restroom, you just go to the top of the stairs and make a right. There's even a sign and a drinking fountain on the way. Please make sure now that your cell phones are put on silent. Even if you think that they are silent, go ahead and check it out anyways. And this evening's experience is going to be led by myself, Rabbi Kavod Weider, and Cantor Natalie Young, and Bob Remstein on the keyboards, Evan Wool on the drums, Marcy Howard to add voice, and our special guest from New York City, Rabbi David Ingber. And so this is a really special kind of service that we do at Temple Bethel. You're going to notice that the only prayer book you have is one sheet of paper. And the idea is that this is called a Soul Spark Shabbat, because when we talk about soul, we're talking about that word that's pointing to what is our deepest essence. Who are we at our core? Who are we at our core that is connected to so much more? And so we're going to use music and silence to inhabit that space of our soul. So as you notice about this space here, is it has incredible acoustics. It's going to magnify our voices and the music in this beautiful, wonderful way. It's also going to magnify any kinds of chit-chat that might go on. So if you're feeling the need to connect with somebody next to you, just head on downstairs, keep your voices quiet, preserve this sacred space here. This is the last Torah portion in the book of Exodus. And the last bunch of Torah portions has been concerned with the building of the Mishkan, of the sanctuary, the portable sanctuary in the desert. And a lot of our teachers point us to that the Mishkan, this holy sanctuary in the desert, is not just something that was back in time a long time ago, but is really our lives. That we have the opportunity in every moment to have our lives be a holy sanctuary, to be a Mishkan. How do we live our day-to-day in ways that make space for God's presence in our world and in our lives? And one of my favorite spiritual masters, the Me'orei Naim, Rabbi Menachem Nachum of Chernobyl, great to see you guys, 19th century, taught that the way that we create our holy sanctuary in our lives is with three things: with speech, with thought, and with deed. Those are our paintbrushes to create our holy tapestry, our holy sanctuary. Speech, he teaches that when we talk, we have to be aware that our words are not just about our own needs, but are reflecting and able to tap into the needs of those around us, of those that are suffering, of those that we are in relationship with, and that we speak in a way that honors our connection with every person. Thought, that when we judge, because we are always judging, we move through our world making choices all the time through judgments, that we always judge on the good side. If you can find something good in a situation or a person, that's where your thought is. And then deed, that in our actions we recognize that everything we do is an enclosure for holiness, is an enclosure, has a divine essence at its heart. And if we can, everything from the most mundane things, doing our dishes, how do we do our dishes in a way that really has a sense of connection, a sense of living values that are important to us, like cleanliness or whatever it is? They're not just a chore, but an opportunity to connect. So that's the building of the Mishkan, and that's how we do that every day. And what's interesting about how our Torah portion opens up is it opens up with Shabbat. It's like we've been going on all these instructions of the Mishkan, and then it suddenly pulls back and says, remember to observe Shabbat. And that's the key to creation. That's the key to creating our lives. How do we have enough mindfulness to be able to have our speech be one that is reflecting other needs, to have our thought be judging for the good, and for our actions that are aware of the divine? We need to stop and be able to open to an inner spaciousness that is Shabbat. And let all of our creative action, our week, be driven by that reality. So that's what we're doing this evening. We're tapping into Shabbat together. We're tapping into the ground by which we want our creation to take place. Want to invite up to help bring in Shabbat with the lighting of candles, Brandon Levine and his family, who is becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow. So come on up, Levines. And I want to invite everybody else to stand as we bring in Shabbat candles together. Let's have your mom light it. You may all be seated. Good job. So, up until just last week, when we would do our Soul Spark Shabbat, it would already be dark here, and we'd put our attention on the candles. And so I still want to invite you to, we're going to take a moment to just be in some quiet, to fix your eyes on the candles. You can look at both of them at the same time. You can fix your eyes on one of them. And just witness the brilliance of the light. That there's something in the clarity of the flame. You can notice how it has different shades, from a darker sense on the wick as it blends into brightness, and then kind of blends into the rest of the air surrounding it. And as you pay attention to the flame, become aware of your breath, become aware of your body in space, kind of feel that pull of gravity as it creates some pressure on your bottom, your feet on the floor. Even notice the little bit of effort that comes to sit up straight as you pay attention to the flame. And just notice how you can be aware, you can have your attention on the flame and be aware of your body in space. You can kind of be aware in your visual field of all that surrounds the flame, the other people in the room, the spaciousness of the building. And consider that just as we see that aliveness, that energy that is in the flame, that the air that surrounds it is also radiating an energy, an aliveness. Right? We know all the atoms in the world that make up this world are charged with energy. There's an electron and a proton, a neutron. There's vibrancy in the air that surrounds the flame. And you can also become aware of your own vibrancy, that there's energy in your body, in the cells, in the breath. Everything is radiating. Everything inside, everything outside, radiating with a presence and energy. The third prayer on your sheet. Glory and majesty are in this energy. Strength and splendor is this holy sanctuary.
הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. 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 La
I've forgotten how intimate it is to visit another synagogue. How much of a privilege it is to sit with people who know one another, who let down their guard with one another, who welcome one another. I've forgotten what that was like. It's been since before the pandemic that I actually visited another community. And so it's a privilege to be here with you on this remembrance for me. And when I think about remembering, I think also about the powerful dance that love is in the world. Our tradition teaches that the world was created with love. Olam chesed yibaneh. That when we try to imagine why God would possibly move from isolation to connection, from nothing to something, and we put our mind to that, we come up with a blank, and the tradition says, you can stop there, because it's about love, and love has no time. It doesn't have necessarily a reason. When I think of people that I love, I can list all of the things, the attributes and the characteristics, but when you say you love them, it's in a flash. I love you. So when the tradition imagined the first impulse to create the world, it was from that same impulse that brings forth life every moment for us as we blink our eyes, as our hearts beat us, as our breath breathes us. And this dance that is love, this phenomena, it has the same energy of this song that we're singing, this repetition, this chanting. Because it's not for nothing that we use the phrase falling in love and falling out. There's a sense that love has its rhythms, love has its meter, it has its cadence and its percussion. And so we repeat these chants over and over again, and we come back to them and we return to them, and yes, there it is again. And as my teacher once said, when you tell someone you love them, it isn't information that you're transmitting. It's like, oh, did you know that I love you? It's like, oh, thanks, that's new. No. It's a return to something that's there, but we fall out and then we get back in. I remember as a young rabbi, my wife and I had just had our first child. His name is Bear. I'll talk about him later tonight. And little Berla was 2 years old. No, he was a little older than that, but he was 2 or 3, and a colleague of mine called me, and it was Tisha B'Av. It was the saddest day of the Jewish calendar in the summer. And she said that one of her parents had passed away, and so I went to do the funeral, and I remember coming back, and she was sitting with me in my apartment, and I had been out all day, and I had to leave to go to another event, because it was Tisha B'Av, it was a holiday. And so I was walking her to the door, and I heard from the bath, I heard my son screaming, Abba, Abba. And so I went in, and he was in the bathtub. If you can imagine, a 3-year-old little boy in the bathtub, cheeks, the whole thing, the whole beautiful catastrophe, the eyes, the whole thing. And I looked at him, and my heart was just like, wide open. And I said, what, Berla, I have to go to shul. He said, no, Abba, you went to shul already, And I said, I know, Bear, I have to go back. And he looked so, And I looked at him and said, Boo-boo, I'm going to come back. I promise, I'm coming back. And then he paused for a moment, and he said, okay, Abba, you can go. But he said, but when you come home, don't walk, run. So our capacity to come back to connection when it's lost, our capacity to run home. Because in love, in friendship, in families, we have to go sometimes, And Shabbat only comes once a week. And scholars in residence once a year. I promise I'll run home, I told him. And so before we chant Ahava, and Rachamim, love and compassion, I ask you to think of a place in your life where you'd like to run back to that place. And even if you've been away for a little while, like this chant, it will come back. If you make the promise that you'll go home quickly. And each time you go away, you say, I'm coming back soon. Ahava. So if your eyes are not already closed, I invite you to close them. And as your eyes close, inviting you to visualize the earth in your mind's eye, holding the totality of this planet, as it were, feeling a connection, seeing it from a distance, but holding it with love and great caring, with ahava v'rachamim. The oceans and the forests and the entirety of the ecosystem, and the places on the planet that are on fire, and the places on the planet that are at war, and the places on the planet that are at peace. Hold all of it with a gentle and relaxed noticing of your own body as you hold these images and these thoughts. You've got the whole wide world in your mind and in your heart. And as you breathe, noticing that even as you are separate, sitting here holding that earth, you are not separate from all of those who are around you at this moment, and the ground beneath you and the earth that holds you, and the air that you are breathing, and the sounds you are hearing, and the thoughts you are thinking. All of it. One seamless coat of consciousness, all of it. One inseparable, simple unity, all of it. One heart beating this existence. And as you sit here noticing, you are not separate from all of those who have come before you and who will come after you. You are not separate from all of those who, like you, will chant these words and have chanted these words. As we sit here, this great we that we are is not different from the hearts and the minds of all conscious beings who have ever been and whoever will be at this moment in time, right here, right now. Breathe. At this very moment, beings are being born and beings are passing away at this moment. All of life is breathing in and breathing out, holding on and letting go, opening and closing and opening. And so as we chant the Shema together, listening deeply, hearing these 6 words that have been chanted for thousands of years by millions of people. Each breath of yours, each thought is uniting with that great ocean of being. You are not alone.
Adonai Echad.
might have the experience as you sing that the song is being sung through you, that you and I are just the vessel for a greater voice that's coming forward. Adonai, open my lips so that you may declare your praise through me.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Teilatecha,
Ufi Yagid
Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha,
Ufi Yagid
Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha.
So we're going to open to a few moments of silence in just a moment. You may continue standing if you're standing, or you may sit. And what I'd love to consider as a reflection is how sometimes time goes so fast and sometimes it goes so slow. Right? When we are in the moment, when we are in love, when we're engaged, time goes by like that. And when we're not connected to what we're doing, when we don't want to be in the moment that we're in, time goes so slow. And the reflection is that time is a creation of our mind. That our sense of how we string together moments and separate a memory from what is happening here, like a string of pearls, one after the other, is a function of our mind. But the reality is that there is only now, right here, right now, always. Eternity is another way of speaking about the timeless present. This is a special Shabbat. It's one of the last, it is the last of these 4 special Shabbatot before Passover. It's called HaChodesh, the Shabbat of the month. And it refers to the line in the Torah where it says, "This will be the beginning of months for you," that God says to Moses, to Israel. This shall be the beginning of time. This is the month where time begins. But what was happening before time began? What was happening before we had a sense of there being a past? As you pay attention to your breath, notice where the exhale finishes its cycle, and there's a moment of stillness before the inhale begins. The same way that an ocean tide crashes in and extends out into the shore, and there's the briefest moment where there's a pause before it draws back out. And on the inhale, there's that pause right in the moment before the exhale begins. Notice that pause, that timeless moment where there is not here nor there, inhale nor exhale, just here. And allow yourself to sense that still pause that's present even as the inhale begins another cycle. That then we have a window into before the exhale starts again. But the breath just rides on top of that timeless, present moment. And that word chodesh, for month, for time, is also chadash, new. When we open to each moment fresh, outside of time, we are renewed. And that's one of the messages of Passover. That's one of the messages of freedom. Freedom to be in the moment.
So I feel like, the next chant says Einod, which means nothing more. We're done, But we're not really, so just... It means Einod, there's nothing else. Einod. But the first part of the chant is the prayer Aleinu, which is, for those of you who are familiar with a little bit of yoga and have ever done a yoga practice, the end of the yoga class usually has a mudra, which is a closing energetic pose, like posture or pose, and for a couple of thousand years now, we've been ending our practice sessions with this word, Aleinu. It is upon us. It's upon us. It's a beautiful way. It's very Jewish of us to say, enough with the navel gazing and pupik, let's go. Let's get going. There was a Hasidic Rebbe, there was a Hasidic teacher named Lev Yitzchak Berditchev. Have people heard of the Berditchever? Lev Yitzchak Berditchev. So the Berditchever, he wrote a book called The Kedushas Levi, and he has a comment that is very beautiful, actually. It really speaks to this moment. In tomorrow morning's Torah reading, we'll hear about the end of the tabernacle construction. And at the end of chapter 36, as Rabbi Kavod has been saying, we're finished with the tabernacle. The renovations are done. It's time to open up the building. We can have people in. And the Torah tells us that all of the malacha, all of the work that was done for the tabernacle, and all of the gifts that were given, it was unbelievably gewaldic. It was in a great capital campaign. It all worked out perfectly well. And all of the work and all of the campaign, it was dayam. It was enough. Like the word dayenu, right, in Pesach. It was enough, day. And then it adds, and then as if to signal in the very word, the next word, it contradicts itself. It says vehoter, and it was more than enough, like the word in Hebrew, yoter. It was enough, but it was more. So we would say in English, it was more than enough. But for many commentators through the generations, they've been wondering why was it necessary to let us know that it was enough, and it was also more than enough. There was this superfluous quality, this hoter, it was extra, So the Berditchever says something very beautiful. He says, no, the word vehoter, the extra of the work of the tabernacle, isn't about that moment. You see, in our tradition, the tabernacle, as Rabbi Kavod was saying, is a microcosm. All of the language used around the tabernacle is the same language as the construction and the creation of the world. And so the world itself was being replicated in the tabernacle in the desert, yeah? And we have a tradition that says that God didn't finish God's work of creation. God left work over for the rest of us to do. The creation isn't done. In each and every generation, in each and every soul, in your soul, in my soul, all of us are finishing what God left for us. Said, I'll leave a little bit for you to do, Like a good parent or a good teacher says, you know what, I'm going to leave that part. You finish that.
Why so much?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of us have been asking that. Why so much, God? I think, you know what, when you find that answer, then you let me know, okay? Too much. It's like too much. Enough's enough. You finish it now, God. We messed it up already. You finish it. So the Berditchever said that when it says dai, it was for that generation, but vahoter, extra, was for all of us. V'chol tzadikim, v'chol, for all of the righteous and all of the people who were going to come, there was extra left over to complete the tabernacle-ling of the world. And so each and every service, we finish with saying, Aleinu, it's on us. You, God, you gave us the world, but Aleinu, now it's on us to do it. We have to do it. Because if we don't do it, no one's going to do it. I wish God would do it, but you know what? She keeps telling me, you got to do it. Yeah. And Odiva Shalom Aleinu, it's on us. That's the Aleinu too. We got to bring peace with Aleinu. It's on us. And what's amazing? It's not on each and every one of us individually alone. It's on all of us together, collectively. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said so beautifully that when Martin Buber wrote about I, it, and I, thou, he said that there's a relationship between objects, that's an I, it relationship, and between people, it's I, thou, me and you. He said, but we Jews really believe not in only I, it, and I, thou, it's we, thou. It's a we-thou relationship. in an age of radical individualism where everything is curated, or even our technology has a little eye before each and every pod and, and tune. It's a we pod. It's a we tune. It's about we, it's about the collective, that we can do it together. And we have to do it together. It's not alai, it's not only on me, it's aleinu, it's on all of us together. And so when we chant this now, you say to yourself, I do my part, but let's do something, we can do something together that will be even stronger, right? To bring about the completion of the world, the completing of the world, the completing of the tabernacle. Ein od. Aleinu, it's on us.
We mourn the loss of those who recently passed and whose families are still in the period of Shloshim. Rosalind Shane, mother of Shana Shane, and Pauline Kaplan, mother of Laura Rothman. We're also commemorating the yahrzeits of Elaine Angel, Eileen Garson-Barron, Philip Berzo, Monty Binder, Martin Brown, Florence Charton, Dr. Robert Koblenz. If I say the name of your loved one, please feel free to stand in honor of your connection. Jack Cohen, Rachel Leah Cohen, Sharon Diskin, Isaac Dewan, Ruben Efim, Beatrice Felsenfeld, Milton Felsenfeld, Jeffrey Frumam, Mrs. Celia Goodman, Brenda Royce Gordon, Rose Greenberg, Sidney Guttel, Morris Hack, Bertha Kaplan, Arnold Kartzenel, Ruth Keith, Bernard Klein, Mort Kraus, Judy Queller, Ann Landsman, Abraham Lasher, Sam Lefkowitz, Yehuda Lior, Douglas Meister, Albert Mintz, Pearl Nadell, Eric Nash, Marvin Nixon, Joe Noble, Greg Peretz, Shlomo Perez, Shirley Rosen, Mona Ross, Sidney Sapsovitz, Sala Samueli, Peter Scarpello, Judy Schifrin, Martin Schoenfeld, Dan Sherman, Jack Simons, Rachel Sklar, Sam Skolsky, Sarah Soriano, Howard Stearns, Max Weinberg, Ruth Weiss, Leland Philip Weiss, Irving Winnick. And we're also continuing to remember Miriam and Seymour Willickson, Judith Kovacs, David McKee, Les Heinel, Jacob Lazarson, Dr. Albert Gordon, Les Rothberg. Is there anybody else we're saying Kaddish for today? Thank you. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah v'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Shabbat shalom aleinu, Shabbat shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom aleinu, Shabbat shalom aleinu, Shabbat shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam.
Salam
You may be seated. We're almost done. So first, I just want to express great appreciation to Dennis and Deirdre Greenberger for sponsoring tonight's Soul Spark Shabbat in loving memory of Robert Dolan, her father. Albert Dolan. I don't know what it is. Albert Dolan. And also just huge thank you to our leadership this morning, Cantor Natalie Young, Bob Remstein, Evan Wool, Marcy Howard, Rabbi David Ingber, all of your voices also participating, making this service so special. Tomorrow morning, we have the incredible simcha of celebrating the bar mitzvah of Brandon Levine, and that will happen at 10 a.m. here in the chapel. And in a moment, the sanctuary. I pointed here, and I said that, in the sanctuary. And in a moment, Brandon is going to help us lead Kiddush and Hamotzi. And also, we're going to continue Shabbat with our scholar in residence, Rabbi Alan Krauss, scholar in residence, Rabbi Ingber, tomorrow morning with services starting at 9:15. Rabbi Ingber will lead the service in a Romamu-style Shabbat, just like he does it in New York City, more or less. Our community will be participating with Torah readings and all that as we usually do, but it will be a treat, as you can hear already from tonight. And then we'll have a community lunch at noon, and that will be followed by a teaching from Rabbi Ingber at a little bit after noon, maybe 12:30. Tonight, when we finish here, those who have registered for dinner can go in and help themselves to dinner. If you didn't register for dinner, but you'd like to hear Rabbi Ingber speak, he's going to give a talk tonight. What's the title again? You remember? Human difference and divine dignity, kind of a theology of inclusion. So that's going to start probably around 8 p.m., 10 p.m., and there are chairs set up in here so you can just go on into the banquet hall, find yourself a seat, even if you didn't register for dinner. Details for all of our events can be found on our website. Just some upcoming things to notice is it's not too late to register for the B Sisters Women's Retreat, April 28th through 30th. Mark your calendars for beers and cheers on April 15th, celebrating the end of Pesach and the music of Cantor Natalie Young. And our annual fundraising invitations have gone out. Join us to help us reach our goal while having an amazing time with friends, May 13th. We will be doing music through the decades, so look for your invitation and find ways to support it. So Brandon, come on up. Anybody in your family can come up as well to join us in Kiddush. Big brother Cameron will add some extra support. And Big Daddy.
Invite you if you're able to please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon atanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Lecha. We also, I believe, have kiddush and little wine and some challah over there in the banquet hall. But for the moment, I think he likes it. Shabbat shalom. You guys tear in, have some. Go ahead.